All right, morning. Good morning. It's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. Hope everybody's doing well today. It is Sunday. In the United States, we watch football on Sunday. But it's 6:42, and this is show 97. Wow, 3 more shows. So that'd be Monday be 98, Tuesday 99. Wednesday will be in the 100th show. I gotta keep saying I'm gonna do something. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. But the 100th show is on Wednesday. I'm gonna do that really at 5 a.m. in the morning, exactly at 5 a.m. Today's a little late, Sunday. It's raining outside, so it's one of those days when here it gets cold and rainy sometimes, and no one wants to wake up. So a little bit later than normal. But as soon as I move, of course, the guest stars, Bubbles and Hart, are all over me to wake up. So I have to leave because otherwise I don't, they wake everybody else up because they're like, hey, someone's got to feed us. Anyway, hope you're having an awesome day overseas. And today it'll be a great morning for those here in the States. And here we talk about a 5 a.m. Mester Scrum, just ideas, tactical and practical, to help everybody get work done, get home at a decent time, and manage their day-to-day stuff. So the 2 topics I'm going to talk about today is critical path, because that was a question from someone on YouTube. And I want to talk about team size a little bit. Not team size. Story or issue sizes, whatever you want to call PBI, right? Issues, how long it takes to do it. So first I want to talk about critical path. So I had a question about critical path. Question was, if we let everybody pick the issues they want to do, what happens in critical path and like PMI and stuff like that? Well, critical path and project management is very important because it's the things that take the longest and will show you how long your effort's going to take to be done, right? So, and then there might be smaller ones along the way, but they are not critical path because they aren't related to something, or the results of the work doesn't need to be done by something, and you develop this little critical path line that goes across the board. I can actually draw it. How do I draw it? If I can find one. There we go. I got a red line. We'll make it red. I got a red marker. So critical path, for those who don't know what critical path is. So basically it's you build a Gantt chart, and or you can do it anyway. There's other ways to do it. And you start here at the top left, right? And you have a task that takes so long to do. And then this task goes into another task, and then another task, and then another task, and then another task, like that. So that's your critical path. Where things fall off the critical path, the reason why you say that is maybe there's a little thing also going on right here. So maybe this thing dictates this little thing, and this little thing dictates here. But because this one is bigger, since this one's bigger than the little thing here, right below it, it's kind of hard. I guess for my podcast people, it's not really going to work out very well. But maybe it's basically the longest things that go into each other to the point where you're done your project, right? And along the way, there's other tasks from other organizations that may be shorter or do not impact critical path, right? Like that. So maybe they are off to the side, or they have a shorter time period, or they get sucked up by the longer items that have the inputs, outputs, and the due dates for everything. So that's kind of critical path. Now, the question was, how does letting everybody pick the tasks affect your critical path? Because if you have stuff that needs to be done. And the simple answer is, that's why we have sprint planning. The simple answer is, sprint planning, you'll lay out all the work you're going to do in that sprint. But that's kind of, but there's like 3 pieces to this answer, right? One is sprint planning. Every time you sprint and plant, you do sprint planning. You should be prioritizing the work you want to do. What stories, right? Critical paths and tasks should not even be in the same mindset. If you're building tasks and that's a critical path, one, I think you're too crazy on your management of your stuff, and you're way too low. And it should be at the story level or higher. Actually, I prefer critical path at the feature level and not at the story level. And we're going to talk about that. This is all leading into the second part of the topic. So when you talk about sprint planning, I'm going to go above sprint planning. I'm going to go below sprint planning. So 2, you should have a team norms. And we talked about that in a previous show. And the team norms should dictate in your grouping, like, how do you pick the next story? I got my stuff done. Wasn't that a great word? I'm done. Not at the end of the sprint, but I'm done before the end of the sprint. I'm done a couple of days into the sprint. I'm done something. I need to pick something else, right? Or on my 4th day of my 2-week sprint, I got the story I had. I'm finished, and I'm ready to take another one. What do I do? I get that a lot. You'd be amazed how often you get that question. Greg, my people are done their stories, or they finished their story. What story do I take next? As a Scrum Master, as an Agile coach, you'd be amazed. I'm like, well, didn't you prioritize during sprint planning, and you just take the next one down the list? Oh, okay. Or maybe they realized they didn't prioritize during sprint planning. They just grouped them up. And there's really no organizational set with the sprint planning. But maybe that needs to be another topic. But you pick the next one. But what you do is you write this in your team norms. What do you do if you finish your work? How do you know what to do next? And it really should be simple. In your work, you take the next one on the list. If there's nothing, and maybe we'll do a whole show on what to do next. And I think I heard a podcast from one gentleman. I was listening just to see what other people were putting out there. And it was funny. I was thinking about the same thing. And they went through, what are your many rules? I thought they went way overboard. I think it should be just really simple and not as complicated as other people do. But I think it's just a quick little, like a 3 or 4 question ask of what to do. And if you finish all the answers, then just relax and do something fun. But that's another story. So we talked about sprint planning. The team norms should help the team figure out what to do next, and the last one is feature planning. I think critical path more should be at the feature planning, and when you should do that and not during a story. So really, what I worry about people taking, if you have a sprint planning, it's in the sprint, then it's going to match up to the feature planning, which is fine. And then if you're doing the team norms, it should be in a red. So this all means critical path. You don't have to worry about it anymore. So you shouldn't have to be critical path. Now there's other questions, but those are like the 3 basics. If you do that and you say this feature, then this feature, and if there's any duplication, it's fine. There is a critical path, but then you get more into dependency management. If you're all working on the same thing at the same time, and each team is dependent upon another, you shouldn't do it so much, and it really should be get your teams ready to do it. But if you have to, you have to look at dependency management. And that gets more into this, but still feature level planning, and all that. So I hope I help with that, with the critical path. It's not as critical. Well, the other thing is if you're getting your work done every sprint, then you know what's going to happen. The reason why you do critical path is you want to know if they run out of slack and their estimations are wrong and they're going to actually extend. So the reason why you want to do critical path, so I got the Gantt chart. The importance of the critical path and why you do it is because our estimates suck. That's why. So we had this critical path item right here, right? In the middle, and it's certain many days. The reason why you want to know critical path is that this goes over here a little bit longer, and this dictates that, then it shifts the whole project over. That's what we want to know. And the other thing is, let's say this thing had to be done before why this is done. No, let's pick this one. Let's say it's this one. And rather that one, we actually ended up starting here, right? move down there, okay? So it's a 1, and it moved way past the bigger item. Now that becomes the critical path. Now that one now becomes red, and this whole thing shifts out. So that's why you do critical path. So the whole purpose behind critical path is because you're measuring your slack in your process, and you want to know whether or not, there's your lid. You got to figure out whether or not, because something got done late, whether or not it affects your schedule. This goes into the whole commitment and making your commitments. So that whole topic took a lot longer than I wanted. But that's why you do critical path, because you want to know when it's going to be delivered. And if something moves out, you want to know what the impact is on your final delivery date. And that's the purpose of critical path. It ain't just to measure it, it's to give an answer to the customer. But if you're doing Scrum and Agile and you're getting your stuff done, right, your commitment's done, then you don't have to worry about critical path because you're going to meet your commitments. And we already talked about, what is it, 20% or 5%. So if you imagine if all your stuff's 20% over, probably because you took too long, in the end your date's 20% further along. So I want to talk about issue sizes or PBI sizes or whatever you want to call it, because that leads into that critical path analysis. So tasks, subtasks, whatever you want to call them, right? That work should be done in less than a day, ideally a couple hours, because maybe you get a couple tasks done every day, because it shows that you're progressing. You got your work divided. So if unplanned work comes up, I can go with the whole thing. We'll do a show on task and how to do that, but tasks should be less than a day. Stories should be less than a day or two. Worst case, all stories should be done in the sprint. I know we need stories to be done in sprint. I said, yeah, that's really like taking it to the last minute of the day. Like if you have if it takes you to do 80 hours, which is great, in sequential, it should be less than a day or two. Features, and this is the one I talked about, critical path and measuring features. I have a disagreement with a lot of people. Some people say features should be a PBI in the safe world, like a quarter. I'm like, what? No. Features should be done in 1 to 2 to 3 max sprints. If your feature takes you more than 3 sprints to get done, then it's a ginormous thing and you need to break it down. I mean, I'm just telling you right now. I prefer features to be under 2 sprints. So the idea is I get a couple stories that get done in 1 sprint and a couple stories done in 1 sprint, and then I get my feature done. That's the way it should be. If you're, and this applies no matter how long your sprints are. If your sprints are a day, then the feature should be done in 2 days. If they're a week, it should be done in 2 weeks. If it's a 2-week sprint, and 4 weeks max. 4 weeks is crazy. If it takes anybody to build a feature more than 4 weeks, then your whole system's screwed up. I'm gonna tell you right now. Or is your feature an entire website? Because most people can build almost an entire website from scratch. And well, it depends what you're using. Some could do it a day. I could, somebody could basic, simple website. I can build in an hour. It doesn't take that long. So what are you building that takes you an entire quarter to build? I mean, what is it, right? So the logic is like, I could argue. So what are you building? I mean, there's nothing in this world that takes that long to build. Absolutely nothing. And when it's talking about time, it's time to do the job. It's not time to sit and wait for somebody else to give you something, right? That shouldn't be calculated in your time span, because the idea, you eliminate the waste, right? It should be just the time it takes to do the work. There's no job that we do that physically takes that much time. You really need to relook at your system when people argue with me with that. And I'm like, it's just too long. But we'll talk about each one of those things and maybe go into timing and why I say that. I think every one of those could be a show, because there's always an argument on how long they should be and why. And the problem is no one understands the why. Everybody gets so darn high in their stuff, and it's like, why should it be that short? And they don't get it. And when they don't get it, they don't do it. They don't realize it. They don't live it. So anyway, So the key is that the features are less than 2 sprints long, and that helps you do your critical path planning if you really want to do that. So it shouldn't take that long. And also in Scrum and Agile, we all work together. So theoretically, your times should get crunched more, and you try to get all the disciplines inside. There's your logic, right? If you have all your disciplines in one team, you don't have dependencies. Therefore, it doesn't take 4 sprints to get done. I still don't get it. 3 sprints or 3 months, in my group, a PI is 3 months, which is 6 sprints. I'm saying the feature should be done in 2 sprints. 6 sprints is a quarter, right? For a 2-week sprint. Actually, I'm saying it should be done in 2, not 6. Anyway, with that, hey, have a great day. Enjoy your week. And what's left of the weekend is almost your money's almost here. Hope everybody has some fun. Don't forget to have some fun and bring it up. Do a test. Not a test. Change your questions on Monday just to mess with everybody's brain. So I'm going to change Daily Scrum as a Scrum Master. And they're like, what? Or even if you're a developer or tester and say, let's change Daily Scrum today. I want to talk about what fun I had over the weekend. What's my next fun thing? Because I'm starting to think about my fun thing because I've been listening to the show 5am Mester Scrum every day. And he always tells us, what are you having fun? Because if you're not having fun, it ain't worth it, right? And challenge your friends. Are they having fun? I know there was a lot of holidays over the weekend in India and all. So let's talk about that. I mean, did you have 1,000 people? I saw a fireworks thing that went up to the stairway to heaven or something like that, which was really awesome. I would love to see that here in the States. And can somebody in India bring that over here so we could do one of those things at one of our 4th of July fireworks shows? That would be awesome. Or New Year's would be so cool. Anyway, with that, thumbs up. You know what? You all have an awesome day. Have fun and happy scrumming. See ya. Bye-bye.